Welcome everyone, today we have a new guide video for Tower Fantasy. Now in this video, we're looking into some of the important late game aspects of getting more SSR golden matrices. So over here you can see there are 3 ways of getting those items, including joint ops, limited red summons, and also the golden summons, and also the iron fusing with the matrices. So over here you can see that I have looked into a lot of those related information in regards to the rates, to the pity rate, and also we have a latest updated table of the pity rate of the summoning for the matrices and what are the pity numbers. And as we keep going, we also have the latest pity update and also the rates for the artificial island. So you can see behind me over here, by crafting those matrices, you can actually get a pity if you do this correctly. And there's some hidden rates we want to talk about in this video as well. And also those were revealed on the Chinese forum. So we'll look into those, and there will be 3 parts we'll look into. The first part we'll look into the joint ops, and then we'll look into summoning for the red matrices and also the golden matrices. And finally, we'll look into the additional rates and also pity rate for the island crafting. And what shall we do with levels, and also how should we build those for the pity rate, and how does this work? And if you guys are curious about each type of those, they do have a special pity and also special methods that I recommend. So make sure you guys follow the timestamp for each of those. So this video will be broken down into 3 parts. And now let's come over to the first part about the joint ops by spending vitality. So coming over to our notes over here, I'm sure you guys have seen our previous videos about the joint ops about opening boxes. And this time about opening the joint op boxes, we're looking at the SSR matrices. So what I'll do is, let's come over here to the values, and this is the value from the Tower of Index. So what you want to do, look at it, is going to be the chest 3 rate for the matrices. Notice that the matrices for different levels, for level 60 and also level 70 are the same for the third box, which is 0.49%. And if we do get the special pity rate, which is the special 4 rate after 8 chests, this will be 1.33%, up to the guarantee of the 33 chests for the guarantee of the SSR matrices. So instead of looking at those numbers, I have wrote some summaries for you guys. I think it's quite important to understand this part first, then we go to the next part about getting summons with the matrices. So over here you can see that the third box will give us 0.49% each time we open by spending 30 vitality. And from the data over here, it is believed by the community, we currently can't prove this, but it is believed by the community, the special 4 rate, which is revealed over here with the 8 and 33 over here. This particular rate means after 8 non-SSR boxes is opened, your rate of getting SSR matrix in any of the box will be 1.33%. And finally, the hidden guarantee pity rate is after 33 boxes. So if you don't get any SSR matrices, after 34 boxes, you're guaranteed to get 1 SSR chip. And basically, so if we come over to the joint ops, and you can see that there is a range of difficulties. So not only the joint ops have range of difficulty, it also have different types, and different types will drop different matrices. It is believed by the community each of the types of the joint ops and each of the difficulty of the joint ops will have a different pity. So what that means is, if I were to do 8 chests on difficulty 7, I will be getting the special rate of 1.33%. But if I were to do on a different joint op, the accumulation of those pity will be separate. And also this will be separate on the difficulties of the joint ops. So what players have been looking into and what players are looking into is, they're trying to do 1 joint op at least 8 times to get the special 4 rate. And after that, they're trying to do 1 joint op with the same difficulty, same type, at least 33 times to guarantee 1 SSR golden chip on the 34th run. It is believed that the pity will not stack on different joint ops. So if you were spending your vitality on this and on different joint ops, eventually you will get a guaranteed pity, but this will depend on how many vitalities you spend on each of the joint ops. So coming from this information, over here I decided to write some methods and also tricks we can look into. Now if you have seen our previous videos, we talk about only opening the third box. The method of this will of course capitalize on the highest rate of the third box, which gives 0.49%, and eventually this goes to 1.33%. Now the downside is this is a much slower method. So what I recommend is we can try to only open the third box. Now this is only because we want to get the higher matrix rates. We can only open the third box for 8 boxes. After 8 boxes, all of the rates will equalize, so chest 1, chest 2, chest 3 will equalize into 1.33%. And by that time, we can then use our previous method of opening the third box, followed by second box, and also by the first box to get more SSR gears. And this will also provide us with higher matrices drops. So in terms of how much vitality we need per dungeon, it is by my calculation, so you need at least 1200 vitality to spend on one particular joint op to guarantee a drop of SSR matrices. And let's say if I were to do difficulty 7 for the Deep Sea Stronghold, in order to get a matrix, I have to spend a total of 1020 vitality on opening the boxes on the same difficulty and also on the same type. And it is likely we can't do those dungeons every day, right? Because this only opens up for 2 times a week. So for each of the dungeons, it is likely we can only do a maximum of 2 times a week, one on the weekdays and also 1 time on the weekend. And this is likely going to take us 2 to 4 weeks in order to force a special pity out of the joint ops. And currently, I do think some of the players have been able to get some of the pities depending on how much vitality you have been spending on the particular joint ops. Myself personally, I believe I did get one of the SSR chips out of the farming for the gloves or maybe for the boots, because those 2 dungeons were the ones that players do the most on. And eventually we'll be looking into getting more pities with the other dungeons. And I guess this is a better way to look into the pities, and once we're level 70, I'll make a new guide of how to get more SSR matrices from those dungeons, because the SSR matrices on those dungeons, so if we have a look at the rates over here, the rates actually doesn't change. It is the same rate for level 60 and also level 70. So the method of getting more matrices will work here as well, but we'll be getting a higher SSR golden armor rate with 7.1% and also 12.39% in the future. Now coming over to the second part of going for the red and also golden pools for the SSR matrices. Now the reason we focus on the red pools is because the limited items over here, you can see I've been saving for those. The limited items over here for the SSR chips is more rare. Now if we were just going for the normal golden summons, I know eventually we'll get a lot of those. So the focus of this video will be helping you to look into the pity for summon the limited of the red SSR matrices. And over here we do have the notes. The same logic can work for the golden matrices as well, but because those limited ones are more rare, and most of us do want to eventually go for, let's say, a 4 set or maybe a 2 set for one of those matrices. So what we'll do is, let's come over to this particular post by Accidental V YouTuber Simp. He have been making previously the pity guide for the limited banners, and this time it's the limited matrices. Now, in order to understand this, if you have seen a previous video, you can have a look at that one as well. We talk about the SSR banner for the characters. So this time with the chips, you can see that for the chips, they actually do not have as the flame gold duplication. So in the previous one, what I mean by that is, to get some flame gold for the SSR characters, you can actually get the duplicate of SSR characters and then get the flame gold. You can see those coming from the duplicates. But for the limited chips, the duplicates does not provide the additional accumulation of the overclocking chips. So the pity banner here is quite straightforward, but it is also quite visual to help us understand. So in order to explain this to you guys, let's come over to the free to play and also low spender pity table. Now what our friend did over here is, he's basically saying if you save, let's say if you save 20 pools, 40 pools or 60 pools of the red chips, what are the chances of getting at least 2 pieces of the limited banner chips? And what are the chances of getting at least 4 pieces of the limited banner chips? And of course, getting 1 star will be a duplicate of all the 4 pieces, which is much harder. For most of us low spending players or free-to-play players, we're looking to getting 2 sets or 4 sets. So you can see over here, if you save about 60 of the red chips, currently I only have 5, so I might use crystals to buy those as well if I want to, but it's good to know how much it's needed to get at least 2 pieces. You can see that if you only save up to 60 of those, this will be only about 19 or 20%. But if you were to able to save for 80 of the red chips, the chance of you getting at least 2 sets is 87%. So what he does is, he also uses the pity shop where you can buy one of the golden chips. So one of the red chips. So be aware of this. So he has been looking into the pities and calculating everything together. Now, if I were to plan to, in the future, to get one of the red SSR chips and get those to 4 pieces, what I want to do is I want to save at least 160 of those. I know it's quite a lot, but you can see if you only save 140 of those, your chance of succeeding is only 28%. But if you save 160, the chance of succeeding is 82%. And the biggest part to take away is, if you do not use your overclocking chips on time and use them correctly, then those will be converted into the golden chips. And this is not what we wanted. We don't want those to be converted into the base chip. And this is why it's important to know the banners over here and to know how much you want to save for a certain piece of the SSR chip. And coming back to our notes over here, I did some summary for us. So in order to get two sets, we need about 80 of the red pools. And this is likely going to be about 12,000 of the crystals. And the hard pity, the guarantee of the 2 sets is at 160. So the rates of over here, so 80 is 87%, and 160 is 100%. And next up is 160 red pools for the limited banner 4 set of the matrices. And in order to get this much, you need at least 24,000 crystals. I know it's a lot, guys, but this is about saving for the future and planning for the future. And for the hard pity for this one, it is at 320. So what I mean by that is, if I were to save 160 for the 4 pieces, I have 82%. If I save 360, I'm guaranteed that, actually 320, I'm guaranteed at 100%. So those are the values you want to look into in order to save for any of the sets for the limited banner matrices, in case you want those for the future. Now, finally, our friend over here also have some interesting stats. So in terms of, there's mega whale players who wants to get all the chips to 3 stars. Our friend here said it needs about 70,000 dark crystals to even have a 23% chance of getting all the chips to 3 stars. Now, I haven't looked into the rates, but what he's saying is, in order to whale a 3-star chips for everything, you need $1,000 USD at least. That's not even enough, because $1,000 spent to whale for the game, it's only 23% chance of getting all those to 3 stars. It is extremely difficult and much harder to get the ultimate 3 stars, and it can be very, very costly. So I do not recommend us going for higher stars unless you guys are really rich on money. And I do recommend looking at those 2 guidelines for 2 sets and also for 4 sets of the limited red chips for those particular effects. And I think we can save for those in the long run, and we can start saving those and also aim for higher chance of getting those with the red summons. Now, coming over to a final part of the video, we can see that in the island, the artificial island for patch 1.5, there is a workshop that we can be fusing for SSR chips. And you can see the material of costing for those fusings will be different. So you can see that for level 5, they cost 14 of the boss materials. At level 7, they cost 25. And finally, at level 9, they cost 40 of the boss materials. Now, the reason the materials goes up is also the rate of SSR chips will also go up, the success rate. So over here, we do have some very useful information from Love in the Time beta, and this information also came from the Chinese forum. So we'll go through the summary of this information, and this is actually very useful. So here I have written some summary notes for you guys to understand what is happening. Now, once we get a certain structure to level 5, you can be crafting for SSR chips. Now, the chance of successfully getting all of those chips is only 0.5% by the data over here. And after that, so what I mean by that is, so if you're crafting something over here, the chance of getting a particular SSR chip is only 0.5%. So it is very rare. But if we wait to get structures to level 7, and also at level 7, it does cost more materials to get those chips. If we wait for level 7 and use the cost for level 7, the rate of success is double to 1%. This is definitely worth it, because if you look over here, it costs 14 materials over here, and here it costs 25 materials, but the rate is doubled. So at level 7, if you're crafting for SSR chips, the rate will be 1% per try for success rate. Now, do keep in mind, if you're crafting for golden SSR chips at level 5 or level 7, there is no pity rate. So there's no guaranteed pity. No matter how many you craft, your rate is fixed at those numbers. But according to the data on the post over here, it is said by the Chinese players who have been testing this, they can see that if you wait for level 9 for the crafting, I know this will take a while. If you wait for the level 9, the materials will increase while the rate of success will also increase. So this will increase to 1.25% with a hidden pity system that is built in the game. So what does this mean is, the Chinese player have tested and guessed that the hidden pity system is that after you have fused 80 of the same matrices, you will be guaranteed to get 1 SSR matrices. And with this particular hidden pity rate, they have calculated the consolidated pity rate and together with the 1.25% to become 2.5%. So what that means is, if you are crafting and fusing your chips, it is more worth it to be crafting those at level 9. Not only do you get higher rates, you also get a hidden pity system that eventually your consolidated rate will go up to 2.5% because after 80 tries, you'll be guaranteed with a golden chip. Now, because we know the bosses spawns every 7 days, so we know the amount of resource we get is limited. So those resources were limited. I think we get about 400 a week. And because of this, we know by the calculation over here and by the numbers over here with a hard pity, it will be the longest time. It will take us 8 weeks to get a hard pity for SSR chips from the island fusing. And by the probability over here, we also expect to get 1 off pity. So during the 8 weeks, we expected to get 1 guarantee one if nothing happens. But maybe on the 5th of, maybe on the 3rd week, if you're lucky enough, you can get an off pity golden chip. So those are the rates that is recommended us to try for level 9 structure. And I know guys, this will take a while. So currently I'm on level 5 structure, waiting for the bosses to come. And what I do recommend for you guys, if you're planning to fuse your golden SSR chip, wait for at least level 7 for the rate to be doubled to 1%. And if you can hold on to level 9, your rate will go up to 1.25% with the hidden pity system. And with the hidden pity system, the rates will go up to 2.5% because after 80, you'll get 1 guaranteed golden chip this way. Now, because this video is quite long and I try to build everything together for one big, combination of videos for different things, I do want to give you guys some recommendations of the things we talk about over here. So for the first part, for the join ops, I recommend still using our previous method, which we did 3, 2, 1 box opening. So actually backtrack the boxes. If you haven't seen the previous video, definitely have a look. And I do think it is also worth it if you have free times, only open the 3rd box for a while. So once you have the special 4 rate, then you can come back to, to open 3, 2, 1 boxes. So it's quite important to keep a track of when was your last hard pity. And once you've gotten the golden chips, try to focus on only open the 3rd box for a while, because the 3rd box will give you the best rate for the golden matrices, which is at 0.49%. And after 8 of those boxes, you can then have the special 4 rate for any of the boxes. Now, I wouldn't say this is the the fastest method, and only do this when you have the free time, of course, because it will take a while to run those dungeons only open the 3rd boxes. As for the second tips, for the red matrices summons, what I recommend is we want to save up as many of the red summons as we can from the monthly island, because I do think we get 3 or 4 from the island. So what I mean by that is we try to save up for those chips. And those of the red chips, we can get those from the island and also special events. If we save up a lot of those for at least 80, 160, so those are the special numbers over here, 80 and 160. If I can save up this much, I can be looking to get 2 sets or 4 sets from the limited banner chips. And finally, as for the buildings. Now, the buildings will take a while. Because the buildings will take a while, I do recommend us to aim at least for level 7 and also at least level 9 before crafting for those golden chips. And once we do that, we actually get more mats per day, right? Because the higher level the building is, the more materials we get. And also, if you unlock the hidden pity system, it is much more rewarding in the long term. So don't start crafting at level 5, aim for at least level 7, then go for level 9 for the hidden pity system. And once you have the hidden pity system, what the Chinese players are saying is on average, you'll be looking for 1 golden chip every 4 weeks. And if your rate is extremely bad or if you're extremely unlucky, the longest time you take is 8 weeks for 1 golden chips from the island. So with those 3 methods, we can be looking into more golden chips in the game for the end game. And hopefully I'll be getting more golden chips. So I'll just show you guys how many golden chips I have at the moment. So I haven't really summoned for anything. There we go. So my golden chips, I have 7. So I'm hoping to get at least 12 of those to equip all my weapons to golden chips. And once I do that, I'll look into the sets. And once I do that, I'll look into duplicates. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and for more content related to Tower of Fantasy. I'll be looking into more free-to-play content, and I've tried to look into minimal spending or no spending method to clear the game and also achieve the highest amount of free currencies and also free-to-play, characters and also weapons in the game.